Hello, everyone. Welcome back to EdPath Coach and this week's Weekly Wednesday video live. Thanks for joining me today. A quick reminder to check out my updated website, edpathcoach.com, where you'll find the 12 questions to ask your teen right now to get them excited about exploring career options, which is a super timely resource because today I'm going to be talking about my favorite resources for teens to discover themselves and their career options that might be available to them. I'll put the download link below like I have before. Hop on over to my website and grab those questions and get started talking with your teenager. And I really, just to reemphasize from the last two sessions, it's important to really build that foundation of, relationship conversation with your teenager. So it's a non-threatening topic of exploring their career options. So I would always recommend starting with some really big general questions. My first video on how to use reflections is a great place to start if you're not sure where to start. And those questions are also a good place to start before really we all want to jump right into the meat and potatoes of helping our teens figure out what they want to do after high school, which is hey, you need a job, a career, you're going to make money so you can move out of my house. But we have to start always with that relationship place of letting our teens know and young adults know that we care about them and that we are here to help them wherever their path might take them. Important point there. If you missed my Facebook Lives, they're here on Facebook. I also started a YouTube channel this week. It's at EdPath Coach. You can find all of my videos there as well to check them out. So let's dive right in to my favorite resources. So just to touch back on that same point about why it's important to start with our child getting to know themselves. So we start with building the relationship, making sure they know we care about them no matter where this process goes or what they decide. But then we want to start diving right into jobs. But we have to pause and back up and think about letting our children getting to know themselves before we start the process of what careers, jobs, majors are going to be a good match for them. So I always encourage students and parents to start with a good personality inventory test, something where your child can really think about themselves outside of a job or a career or a major situation, just who they are, what kind of person they are, because we have to really know ourselves and reflect on what makes us happy, what's important to us, what are we good at, before we can match up with jobs that are going to meet those needs. Otherwise, we're kind of walking around blindly in the dark without really thinking about what path or what structures or what we like to do. It's hard to match a career if we don't know that first. So I am going to share my screen here and show you my first recommended resource, which is that 16 personalities. So let me get onto the right page here, share it. Okay, great. So you can see here, this is my first recommended website to use. It's called 16personalities.com. And it's based on the Myers-Briggs test, if you're familiar with that. And there's 16 different personality types that it will find or, put you into a category of. So it's just 16personalities.com. You'll go to this website. You'll click on take the test. And then it is going to jump right into the test. So you're just going to scroll down. And once this loads here, you will be asked questions like, you regularly make new friends, agree or disagree. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. So it's not work-specific questions that it's going to be asking your teen or young adult, It's going to be kind of larger global questions about their personality and who they are, what makes them tick. So they're going to answer all of those questions. And then at the end, it's going to give them one of these personality types. So the personality types are up here. As I said, there's 16 different ones. And it goes through, the report goes through like, what are their strengths and weaknesses? What would be a good workplace for them? But also like, how do they function in their friendships? Maybe if they have romantic interest, how they function with their. So again, like a really good overall starting place for you to look at with your child, and go from there. So I have found that teenagers, they need someone to sit down and work on this with them. If you give them the website and you say, here you go take this and let me know what it says. Oftentimes they get a little overwhelmed by all the information and they aren't really sure what to do with it all. So really sitting down next to them, walk after they complete it, let them complete it by themselves. So they don't feel like they need to answer anything a certain way. But once they complete it, then I would sit down and ask some of those questions. Reflections are, again, a good place to start. Your test said that you like to be alone. Does that fit or not fit? And oftentimes I tell teenagers, figuring out what doesn't fit is just as important as figuring out what does. So oftentimes we can learn just as much or more by figuring out what we don't like as we can by figuring out, oh yeah, that sounds just like me, or no, that doesn't sound like me at all. Okay, well, why doesn't it sound like you? What would sound like you? And then going from there. So that's the first one, big global personality test. It's free. Everything I'm going to mention today is free for you on the internet. Sometimes it can be that fire hose of information, like there's so much out there, I don't even know where to start. So my goal today is to like bring it down, make it feel less overwhelming, and give you like a place to start with some tried and true and trusted resources here. So after you do that, your child has an idea. I would pause. I wouldn't do these all at once. I would take a minute, let it that information sink in, let them think about what that might mean as they're thinking about what career path they might be interested in, or what major they might be interested in, or what kind of college or school they might want to go to, what educational option they might want. And now I'm going to show you some good career interest inventories. So really taking that information, matching it up more with specific careers. The first one is College Board's website. I will put all of these links in the comment section after this is over. I will also put them on my resources page of my website. So you don't need to furiously take notes here. It will be there for you in the comments or on my website. But Big Future is College Board's website. So this is College Board is the company, the nonprofit that does the SAT test. They also have a wealth of college and career planning information on their Big Future site, which is where we are right now. They have this career inventory that is, they've taken a lot of information that the federal government puts together about different jobs and careers and distilled it into kind of a more teenager, young adult friendly page here. So there's a career or a quiz here for your student to take. You just click on take the quiz. This is going to be more like concrete, like activities that might be related to a job that it's going to ask them about. Do you like to use a calculator? Do you like to work with numbers? Do you like to help people? Do you like to put things together? That kind of stuff, more concrete, tasks and activities that they might want to do or not do. Again, just as important for your students to realize what they like to do is what they don't like to do. I took this earlier and I'm wondering if it's going to show me my results or it's going to take me back to the beginning. Oh, it did. Okay. So here are my career match quizzes. So when your student is finished, they're going to get 3 top choices based on their interests in a job. So mine were social, enterprising, and investigative. Those are my top interest areas. My top one is social because I like to help people and I like to work with students and young adults. Makes sense to me that that's my highest. The other 3 that are lower for me are artistic, conventional, and realistic. So your child will get some 1, 2, 3 of those categories, and then they can learn a little bit more about what that means. These are based off of John Holland's work in career counseling, and that all jobs can be categorized based on their top 3 interest areas. So the top interest area being the first letter and then second and third. And then it's going to give them some careers that match their interest areas with how much they make, what kind of education they might need for that job. And then they can explore some more there. If you click on one of those, like I clicked on the one that I do, educational guidance and vocational counselors, it'll give them more information. All of this, again, is pulled right from the federal government. That's where this information is coming from. They're just taking it and putting it in a more teenager, young adult friendly format. But you can also look at it at ONET, ONET.org. They have, that's where all of this information is sourced from. So big future, that's my second recommendation after you do the personality, 16 personalities. Then the Minnesota State has put together a career interest cluster survey. So similar to the big future one, but a little bit different because it looks at clusters of jobs and where they fall. So it asks them about activities that they like to do. It asks them about personal qualities, so a little bit of a different slant, and then what school subjects they like. And then it gives them matching clusters based on how they answered these questions here. And if you go here, I completed this a little bit earlier. It gave me my matching career clusters. So education and training is the top one, hospitality and tourism, and then human services. Again, I like to help people. I like to teach things. This is where it would make sense that my career clusters would fall. So it gives your students that, and then they can do a little bit more interest. And it also shows them the other remaining career clusters and how they fell. So they can compare and say, I don't know why I didn't get a higher one in architecture. I've always been interested in that. So then that might be a conversation that you can have about why they like architecture. What about architecture do they like? And why might it be there versus above? None of this is like, I always emphasize to students, none of this is boxing you into anything. This is just information and resources for you to help think through what's important to you. Oftentimes the whole concept of picking a career or a major can seem so enormous that students don't know where to start. And this gives them a starting point, thinking about who they are and then thinking about what jobs might fit with that. And again, what they don't like to do is just as important as what they do like to do, because that gets rid of other things. The last website I'm going to show you is one from California. It's called the California Career Zone. They have a lot of different assessments on here. They have a values assessment, which is down here, the work importance profiler. So what's important to your student in a job? Do they want to be managed? Do they not want to be managed? Do they need a lot of freedom? Do they need to do a lot of things differently every day? Or do they like coming to work and knowing exactly what they're going to do every day and it's always the same? There's a skills profiler. There's a money one about like how much money, sort of that like reality check of like, you want to be a teacher, but you want to live in New York City. What's that going to look like financially for you to be able to do that? So a few more assessments there for them to take a look at. And those are my 4 recommendations for career counseling online free resources that you could start using with your student to help them start figuring out what path they might want to go down after high school. And I also emphasize to students and parents that this process goes on and on throughout our lives, right? Like we as adults still sometimes don't think we know what we want to do with our lives. And we come back to this place of what am I good at? What skills do I have to offer people? What will people pay me for? And then we kind of reiterate, our own paths. So I think when we're talking to our teenagers, if we can emphasize that this is not, you're not picking this path and you can never change it. We're not locked into anything. That helps like bring it down. We're doing the best we can right now with the knowledge that we have. But it is not forever. I'm going to try to turn off my screen share here. So give me just a second here. There we go. Now you got a nice look at my turtleneck there. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that the fire hose of information that it can feel like sometimes that helped narrow it down to a stream, a little drizzle of places to start. sometimes too much information isn't helpful. We have to hone in on what is helpful so that it feels manageable for our teenagers and young adults. So that's a wrap on today's Facebook Live on career counseling resources for parents. I hope you found these insights helpful. And remember that the journey to discovering the perfect career is unique for everybody. So everybody has a different path. And that's what I'm here to help you and your student figure out. So please don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more valuable content, resources, skills, and community. And also, if you have a favorite career counseling resource that you've used, please drop it in the chat for others. This community is as good as all of the resources that we share with each other. And I hope that we can all make this journey joyful and transformative for our children. And I can't wait to see the amazing paths that your teenagers and young adults are going to embark on. Please reach out and let me know how it's going on or how it's going. I love to hear the stories. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday for more resources, skills, and community. Bye for now.